Welcome back, everyone. A traveling petting zoo at the Holyoke Mall today.
That's just one stop of the few we're going to take as Western Mass News goes town by town. Animal Craze Traveling Petting Zoo was at the Paper City Mall today as part of the weekly event held by the mall known as Tykes Tuesday. The kids program is free and open to the public and is best suited for children ages 12 and under.
Now to Springfield, where this morning Mayor Dominic Sarno, Parks Director Patrick Sullivan, and City Forester Alex Sherman joined Regreen Springfield President Dave Blanars, along with local residents, community leaders, and partners in the Greening the Gateway Cities program for a neighborhood ceremony to celebrate the planting of Tree 2000, the 2000th tree planted as part of the program.
And now to our final stop, Granby, where American Legion Post 266 is supporting Granby Public Schools by hosting the school supply drive. The goal of this event is to ease the financial impact of purchasing school supplies for students and teachers.
When we come back, Jenna has one last look at our first alert forecast.